The Church, wishing to proclaim the dogma of the Immaculate Conception, beseeched Almighty God to send a sign which would verify this truth. In 1830, in Paris, Catherine Labouré received the heavenly response which the apparitions to Bernadette were to confirm just 28 years later. Each one had her mission. To Catherine was confided first the request to have struck and to wear the medal which appeared to her, and furthermore, to have founded the Confraternity of the Children of Mary. We're in Burgundy at Fin-les-Boutiers. Here, in May 1806, Catherine was born, the 9th child of a well-to-do farmer. She lost her mother when she was 8 years old, and one day the maid saw the child taking down a statue of the Virgin. She hugged it and said, "Oh, you shall be my mother." When she was 12, she celebrated her first communion. She was pious and told her sister Tonine, "I am betrothed to the Lord." She made a rule of fasting twice a week. She was almost illiterate when she took her mother's place in the home. At the age of 20, she had a dream in which an elderly priest appeared to her saying, "God has designs for you, do not forget." At 22, her father wanted her to marry, but she refused. To put her to the test, he sent her to the home of his son, a caterer in Paris, where she worked for a year as a maid suffering great moral strain. Her sister-in-law, headmistress of a boarding school at Châtillon, where she'd been educated, took her away, but she was keen to devote herself to the poor, although undecided what order she should enter. On the advice of Sister Marie-Louise, a sister of charity at Castel-Sarrazin, she went to see the Mother Superior of this convent. On entering the parlour, she was ecstatic when she recognized the portrait on the wall as being that of the priest who had appeared to her in her dream. She learnt with great emotion that it was none other than St. Vincent de Paul, founder of the order. Her hesitation was now at an end. Heaven had chosen the order for her. Catherine is now 24. With one daughter already a nun, her father is still opposed to her intentions. His consent is finally obtained by relatives, but he refuses to give her a dowry. It's they who must provide it. Catherine, finally victorious after so many hardships, enters the convent at Rue du Bac in Paris as a novice, a beautiful young girl with tender blue eyes. Her humility and deep piety are quite outstanding. Shortly afterwards, she takes her postulant's habit and receives from the Blessed Virgin the messages later to be confided to the whole Church. It's near midnight on the 11th of July, 1830. Everyone's asleep. Catherine awakes with a start, hearing her name being called. "Sister Labouré, Sister Labouré." She draws back the curtain to see before her a child of about 5, clothed in white, and with light seeming to radiate out of his very body. "Come to the chapel. The Blessed Virgin awaits you." Hurriedly, she dresses, and quietly, so as not to waken anyone, she follows him, taking him to be her guardian angel. "I had often prayed to him to obtain this favor for me," she said later. The chapel door opens by itself. Everything's lit up, no one's there. Catherine prays and prays. Suddenly the rustling of silk is heard coming down from the organ loft. "It's the Blessed Virgin," said the angel. A lady comes forward, prostrates herself before the tabernacle, and goes to sit on a seat in the choir. Here she is, but Catherine's doubts are not dispelled. He persuades her with the powerful voice of a man. Carried towards Mary, she falls on her knees before her, and trusting in that maternal love of which she was so starved, simply places her hands on the knees of the Mother of God. The conversation then begins, and the advice she gives Catherine for herself and for the community, as well as her prophecies concerning France, last until 2 in the morning. Then Mary vanishes, like a shadow that fades away. "She's gone," says the angel, and after escorting Catherine back to the dormitory, he too disappears. On the 27th of November 1830, the nuns are in the chapel at evening meditation. In the absolute silence, the rustling of silk is heard. Catherine starts to tremble. Suspended in the air near the picture of St. Joseph is Mary, standing on a lovely globe on which is written France. Both sad and smiling, she's offering up to God a little globe, and in a voice says to Catherine, "This little globe represents the world, and in particular France, and each individual person." Then in a flood of light, the globe disappears. Mary stretches out her arms in the act of giving. Her open hands reveal sparkling jewels, whose glistening rays fall in a shower of light to embrace the whole planet. The precious stones symbolize the graces she obtains for those who trustingly ask them of her, and the joy she feels in doing so. The dull ones symbolize those graces which remain unasked for. Above Our Lady, stretching from one shoulder to the other, golden letters form the words, "O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us." The vision seems to turn round like a picture. In an oval frame formed by 12 stars stands an M surmounted by a cross, and beneath it the heart of Jesus, surrounded by thorns, and of Mary pierced by a sword. Catherine again hears the voice. "Have a medal struck on this model. Those who wear it, preferably round the neck, and utter this invocation, will benefit throughout their lives from the special protection of the Mother of God." In December, on yet another occasion, above the tabernacle the same medal appears to her, showing Mary crushing a serpent, the symbol of her victory over evil and of her protective power. For a long time she struggles against the cold skepticism of her confessor, Father Aladel. Her mission, however, is urgent, and his occasional refusals to see Catherine are displeasing to the Blessed Virgin. With her secret weighing heavily upon her heart, she throws herself at the foot of the altar, where Mary promises her every consolation. At a later date, when a fire is raging in a nearby building, Catherine calms everyone's fear, assuring them that the fire will not reach the convent. This prophecy proves to be true, and so do many others just as remarkable, and her confessor is finally convinced of her sincerity. He brings the matter to the notice of the Archbishop, but without revealing Catherine's name, for she wishes to remain unknown. The first medal, which came out in July 1832, immediately brought about a number of spectacular cures, which were proclaimed miraculous. Catherine took the veil on the 1st of May, 1835. We find her at the age of 30 at the old people's home at Reuilly, where she devotes herself to the aged, most of them invalids and cripples. She tends the dying, and she's a model of self-sacrifice and tenderness in ministering to the needs of her beloved old children. "I see the Lord in them," she would say. She felt that God is within us, and her principle was never to deny his divine presence. Indeed, this is what we all should strive to do. Catherine knew of the apparitions at Lourdes, which had substantiated hers. Her joy and consolation were great, for her visions were to be disclosed only after her death. The War of 1870 was followed by the Revolution of 1871. The revolutionaries, looking for two wounded gendarmes with the intention of shooting them, occupy the home which has been turned into a military hospital. Their daily threats strike terror into the hearts of the nuns. Sister Labouré, however, inspires them with great respect, and acting as mediator, even gives them miraculous medals. Gradually, one by one, all come to ask her for a medal. We don't believe in much, they say, but we have faith in the medal. It has protected others, and will surely protect us too. Taken before the federal court, Catherine saved both the gendarmes and their associates, and for 70 days she kept a violently dangerous situation under control. Towards the end of her life, she received visitors. No one suspected that it was to this poor nun that the Blessed Virgin entrusted the medal. Completely exhausted, she died at the age of 70. 56 years after her death, her coffin was opened, and her body found to be intact and flexible. One of the doctors, on opening up one of the eyelids, drew back in wonder. The blue eyes, which had beheld the Mother of God, had remained intact. The body now lies at 140 Rue du Bac, beneath the altar of the Blessed Virgin of the Globe, which was built at Mary's own request. She was beatified in 1933 and canonized by Pius XII in 1947. Miracles took place everywhere, one striking example being the case of the paralyzed child of 10, who on touching the shrine began to walk again. At Rome in 1842, Alphonse Ratisbonne, a young writer, atheist and cynic, is induced to accept a miraculous medal by Monsieur Bussière, a converted Protestant. Ratisbonne maintains that he was born a Jew and will die a Jew. On the way to the sacristy of Sant'Andrea della Frata, Bussière brings along his friend, who waits for him at the back of the church. Returning, he calls out to Ratisbonne, who's lying prostrate before an altar, access to which is blocked by numerous funeral accessories placed in the aisle. Everything around me disappeared. An irresistible force carried me, I know not how, towards this spot, which had suddenly become dazzlingly bright. He's perplexed, bathed in tears of love and joy, and overcome with admiration and gratitude. The Blessed Virgin appeared before me in a blinding light, he proclaims. She said nothing, but I understood everything. He's converted, and he begins to study with the Jesuits, and founds the Order of Our Lady of Sion. Dear and holy medal, you bring safely home those who you carry into battle. Gift from heaven, you are beyond all understanding. Your origin is divine. But if we wish our requests to be granted, it's essential that we should lay them down in full before her, with the same trustfulness as before our own mother. Sick people who've been miraculously cured know this to be a fact. This medal works spiritual and bodily wonders throughout the world, and no more powerful sign could be worn than this image, which unites us to God. Thanks to thee, my God. Thanks to thee, Mary, for thy kindness. Thanks to you, Catherine and Bernadette, glorious though humble, whose pure souls reveal to us the divine will. Everyone should know that Bernadette always wore the miraculous medal. The Blessed Virgin in the cachot where Bernadette used to pray is the same Blessed Virgin of the Holy Medal in Paris, who came down once more on the soil of France at Lourdes to reaffirm the dogma of the Immaculate Conception.